Parental alienation syndrome is not recognized as a disorder, specifically a disorder in the DSM, although there are ways to recognize parental alienation through the DSM. I think what's more important is to simply explain to the judge whether it's in the DSM or not in the DSM. What is really important is that the parental alienating behaviors, whatever those behaviors may be, are against the best interest of the children. So, we don't have to necessarily get bogged down as to whether it's a syndrome or not, or whether it's in the DSM. And when I speak to the court, I advise the court that parental alienation behaviors, whether it's a symptom or in the DSM, is still extremely harmful to children. And I also point out there are many, many behaviors that are extremely harmful to children that are not in the DSM. The DSM is very good for therapists and mental health professionals, but there's a lot of things that are bad for kids that are not in the DSM. And there are a lot of things that are not in the best interest of the children that are not in the DSM. And those things I hammer away and point out to the court. And then I also put the focus on the child. And one thing that I do is that parental alienation goes against the best interest of the child and oftentimes results in long-term psychological harm to the child into adulthood. This is not, some judges have this belief that once the custody or divorce case is over, things will kind of go back to normal. And, it's shocking to believe that I would say in high conflict divorce cases, that can happen, but not in parental alienation cases. And I have to make that very clear to the court that this is different. This is a different kind of case. It's not a high conflict divorce case where, after all this is over, the child will eventually repair the relationship. It's parental alienation. It's someone that I spoke to the other day referred to it as a public health phenomenon rather than a custody case, that should be treated more as a public health phenomenon.